Hi guys, what's up? What's down with Sideways? James here for chronic fatigue syndrome, my friend, my enemy, my constant companion. So saw some posts going around and then I thought I'd chime in a bit and add my 2 pence, and I thought I'd talk about it today. And can't remember how I talked about it before, so I take it you can't either. The thing I wanted to talk about was acceptance. I come across a lot of people who, by their words and such, were linking acceptance with giving in. Oh, giving up, whichever way. There is a distinction. Too tired to think and expand on it right now. But anyway, so they took acceptance as a form of giving up, or acceptance meaning that they then had a license to, you know, complain and bemoan their fate and stuff like that. You know, like chronic fatigue syndrome is evil, it's ruining my life, rah 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 rah. Someone said, you know, chronic fatigue has ruined my life, what do I do? And I wrote, create a new life. And you don't have a problem. Anyway, so acceptance was meaning one of these slightly suboptimal things, whereas acceptance is kind of like being mindful. It allows you to know where you are so that you can move forward. So when we're doing like mindful practice, practicing mindfulness, the idea is that you are mindful of your current situation, internally, externally, so that you can then make the most optimal choices moving forward. And you can only make the most optimal choices if you actually know where you are. Okay, so if you've got a map and you're lost, the map's only going to help you if you know where you are on the map and you can have some sort of bearing. Okay, so if you don't know where you are, it's very hard to be honest with yourself and in the direction you want to move in. So with acceptance, it's kind of, I accept that I have something called chronic fatigue syndrome, or fibromyalgia syndrome, or whatever chronic illness you've got. I accept that I have it. But it's not that you're accepting that you are chronic fatigue syndrome. It's not that you're accepting that, you know, you've got it and there's nothing you can do. As much as I go on about there's no cure, I never say there's nothing that you can do. And that, you know, it gives you a license to go and spread more woe. We all have enough woe. Normal people have enough woe. We don't need to spread the woe. Whoa. Anyway, it'd be cool here if I had like a cool like sock puppet I can call woe. Spread that around. That'd be funny for a later thing. Anyway, so what it allows you to do, so like I accept that I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I accept that it impacts my life in these ways. I accept if you weren't, say, born with it, or got like as a really young child, and like you remember a time before, like if you're a teenager and you remember a time before, if you're an adult and you remember a time before, then accepting that this is your current, you know, current ground level. So it's no good with like, I used to be able to run a marathon. Like, it's really sad that you can't run a marathon. It sucks. So much so that you have to accept that right now you can't run a marathon. If you accept that, then you can start planning to maybe one day run a marathon again. But if you keep holding yourself back, like, I used to be able to run a marathon, there's no point in doing anything anymore because it's all bad and I'm bad and I can't do anything, and I used to be able to run a marathon but I can't run a marathon now, so it's bad, so what's the point of going on? So if you accept that what was is not necessarily what is, then you can move on from there. Sounding like a very kind of like martial arty film right here. Oh, grasshopper, you must not have foot in past so that you can take steps towards future, or something like that, you know? So acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It just means taking stock of where you are so that you can move forward. Always try and move forward, and as I've talked about it before, you don't have to trying to do it all crazy in one day. Like, last year, physically, really bad. And to me, I feel time very keenly. So to me it seems like I've been trying to rebuild forever, and I have, like, my whole life, but like since last year, forever, and it's only been 6 months, which is not a long time to go from where I was to here. And I'm doing very, what I would consider, light stuff during the week, like compared to what I want to do, compared to what I may have at one time been able to do. It almost wouldn't blip on the radar, but it's continuous, it's gradual, it compounds, it's building up. We're into March, so it's the 21st of March, which means this is day 49, and from there, like, so we're 49 days plus January into, I'm not going to try and remember how many days January has, it's a trap. So there's not that many days to get to where I am now. If I continue on the same progression, in 3 months it's going to be wow. In 6 months, wow. But I will screw that up if I start comparing to what was, and if I stop. If I stop, I will drop back down. Like, that's it. I can get sick and drop back down. I can stop and get dropped back down, but at no point do I want to choose. Because if I stop, I am taking an active choice to stop, which will then, I will deteriorate. I can feel, as I said in like the first video, there's a lot of stuff here on the chest that I'm trying to, I don't mean muscle either, it's getting there, that having to work through. Like there's that energy where I'm either, I could be like, I could self-sabotage, or I could try and put it into something useful, which is why every month I try and do something scary big to like put it into it. But at the same time, I can still feel a deterioration inside, and it's really awful and it's weird. Like, it's like I'm sliding backwards while I'm going forward, but I know that there is progression. So I have that sense of deterioration, but by doing gradual things, I'm either staving it off, or I might get to the point where it won't be so noticeable. Or I'll be able to just always stay on top of it, that it won't be a thing unless I let it become a thing, and then I'll slide back down. And it will be harder to get back up. So that will only happen if I give up. And as much as it's an uncool thought, to give up is a conscious, I still have to choose to give up. I still have to choose to stop. And there are times when you must stop things, when you feel that it's turning from stress to strain. You must stop things. You must drop it as quickly as you can and recover, let yourself recover. But there are other things that you know they're beneficial for you that you should not stop. You should not stop. So if it's beneficial for you, don't stop. If it's detrimental to you, drop it as fast as you can. Like, especially, I would say that to a normal person. If you've got chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia syndrome, the chances are you're not going to have the energy to hold on to that longer. Or you're like me, and you build up a resistance, and you'll go and you go and you go and you go, and like you should have stopped here, and you'll go and you 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 go, and you're like, your body's like so many warning signs by now. And you go and you go and you go and you go, and then poof, off screen, you're gone. Your body will just, no, you're not getting out of bed. No, you're not moving. No, this is, by the way, this is what you've been feeling for the last months. Boom. So, acceptance is accepting where you are currently and where you want to get to. And using that to get to where you want to get to. Because that's your day zero. It's your new starting point. You know, if you ran a marathon before, it sucks. However, today is your day zero. What do you need to do to build up, to be able to do what you want to do again? Like, I've got chronic fatigue syndrome, I will never do that again. Well, if you don't try, you're absolutely correct. There is no way for you ever to be able to do that again. If you try, you give yourself the chance of it happening. And I'm not saying that it will happen, because it might not. You might change your mind halfway through. You might go, well, this just isn't for my body. Why am I doing this to myself? But you can't get there unless you give it a go. You cannot get there. Always, guys, don't get that mixed up between, you know, oh, I'll just push through and through the stress and it'll get better and won't turn to strain. It's a completely different thing. One is detrimental, one is not. If it's detrimental to your health, whether it's physical or mental, then don't. Okay? But if it's just a little bit of stress to stimulate yourself to grow from where you are currently to somewhere new, then that's okay. Okay? And this ties in with everything. Physical training, mental training, relationships, sport, sword, music, rah. Okay? Alright, so thank you very much for letting me share that. Feel free to ask any questions, introduce yourself, like, share, subscribe, hit the little notification button, and thank you very much for letting me share this. Like, crikey, so day 49, we're almost up to day 50, and I think one person, I think my original task was like do the month, but they said, you know, you gotta try and do it for a year. Like, if you're gonna, this is called publishing, if you're gonna publish content. Like, I'm up to day 50. Woo! Almost a seventh of the way through. Yay. Alright,